Welcome to the Winning in Business podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Rissy, and I love talking to business professionals, leaders, and entrepreneurs who are winning in business. Are you ready to reach your next level of success? If so, join us on the Winning in Business podcast as I interview entrepreneurs, business professionals, and leaders who share how they've risen to success. Before we begin, go ahead, hit subscribe and the notification button so you'll be notified each time a new episode is released. Plug in and settle in. You're about to be inspired to rise up to your next level of success. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Winning in Business. This is your host, Kelly Rissy. And today I am super excited because I am here with a power couple, Teri and Vito Trifiletti. And I have known Vito for many, many years. And just recently I had the privilege of meeting his wife. So I want to share their bios with you. So Teri spent 22 years in the cardiac operating room as a certified perfusionist operating the heart-lung machine for open heart surgeries. She started her education at Illinois Wesleyan University and earned her bachelor's degree of science in perfusion from Rush University in Chicago and her MBA from Lake Forest Graduate School of Management. Travel and real estate are two of her biggest passions. And when she listed her first short-term rental in Charlotte, North Carolina on AirBnB in 2017, she never imagined it would grow into the thriving business it is today. It started as a fun side hustle and quickly grew into a full-service property management company, which includes her husband, Vito, joining the business in 2021. So let me share about Vito. So Vito started his first business at the age of 14 with his best friend washing boats on the Mississippi River in St. Louis, Missouri. He went on to graduate from Illinois Wesleyan University, where he and Teri met in the cafeteria. And he asked her on their first date. It was the best decision he ever made. I think there's a lot of men that can say that that was their best decision. Vito spent his career in IT in Chicago, Los Angeles, and London, England, working globally with Kraft Foods. He left Kraft in 2007 to become CIO of Preferred Meals, which is a nationwide K-12 school food service company based in Chicago. After growing the company, Preferred was sold to Elier North America. Elier invited Vito to become CIO of their portfolio of food service companies in schools, universities, prisons, hospitals, senior care centers, museums, and fine dining restaurants based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, with global headquarters in Paris, France. Teri and Vito have two daughters, ages 17 and 15, and throughout their relationship and working careers in perfusion and IT, Teri and Vito have been avid investors working side hustles in addition to their corporate day jobs and being proud parents. They've owned investment real estate for over 20 years and even owned a car wash in Illinois for a few years, but that's a whole nother episode. So welcome you two. So excited. As I said earlier, you guys are my first couple to ever have on the show. So super excited to be interviewing both of you.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Kelly. This is a lot of fun. We really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. So, okay, let's get into it. I know you have a lot to share and love listening to your bios about how you both started in something that now you are no longer in. So tell me, how did you get into doing what you do?
Yeah. So it really all started by accident. We had our second daughter in 2007, and we outgrew the townhouse that we owned in the Chicago suburbs. We ended up buying a house in the neighborhood just down the street. And our townhome ended up sitting on the market for almost a year. That was in 2008 when the whole housing market started to crumble. And so we decided to pivot and rent it out. We were pretty familiar with owning rental properties, so we thought we would wait for the market to improve and try selling again. And actually, a Chicago Bear player and his family moved in for the next 2 years. So during that time, we quickly realized the financial benefits to owning rental property. And plus, it was super easy to manage.
Yeah, at that time, we were happy to get $100 a month after the mortgage, taxes, all the insurance was paid. We were just trying to not lose money on that house every month. But once we understood how to manage it ourselves, we took on some additional risk and decided to buy 6 more rental properties during the great real estate recession of 2008 to 2012. Because, we understood the numbers and how to evaluate real estate from a financial and cost to build perspective. So during high school and college, I had worked at a wholesale lumberyard in St. Louis that my stepdad managed. And I was a yard dog there, basically picking up trash and stacking wood in the hot St. Louis summers. And that taught me about the cost of building materials and what it took, to construct a house. And then my dad and my uncles and cousins, they were all blue collar workers. And I understood helping them, what it costs from a labor perspective to build a house. And during that housing recession, when properties were in bank foreclosure, short sales, and they were selling for $50 to $75 per square foot, I knew you couldn't even build a house for less than $120, $125 a square foot. So the equity was sitting there for investors who were willing to zig when everyone else was zagging. And so, there were a lot of foreclosures and short sales, and a lot of people got washed out of the real estate market during that period, which was awful. But, Warren Buffett, he's famous for, saying a lot of things. But one of the things that stuck with me that he said is, when others are greedy, be scared. And when others are scared, be greedy.
Yes, I was just going to say that. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that you hear about any recession. That is not a time to slow down. That is a time to speed up. That is a time to figure out what you can do during the recession to really take advantage of it. And that's exactly what you all did.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
Sure. I mean, it's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
It's risky, right? But we felt like it was a risk that we understood and that we could manage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excellent.
So, during that time was when we really cut our teeth and learned a lot about rental contracts, insurance, rent collection, even evictions. So we had to go through that, which is not fun. The repair and maintenance and all the stuff that goes along with being a landlord. And we were very fortunate that we assembled a great team around us of real estate brokers, mortgage lenders, real estate attorney, a team of financial planners, tax accountants, CPAs. We assembled this team of people, and we did a lot of deals with them, and built their trust. They trusted us, we trusted them, but they really helped us to learn how to navigate the terrain, and we learned a lot about how to close deals. And protect ourselves from the time we make an offer and close on a property until the time that we sell it, and the tax implications that go along with all of those transactions.
Yeah. In any business world, bringing this back to just anyone in the business world, when you develop those, I call them power partners, referral partners, whatever you want to call them, when you develop that team of people that you truly are all in your wheelhouse, you all have basically the same clients that you're dealing with, right? All in that same interest, and you're passing business to each other. I mean, it's a beautiful thing because you all trust each other, you know each other, and business can just flow, and it makes things so much easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and more fun.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any entrepreneur knows that they can't build a thriving business without having those partners in place. And so our experience in Chicago helped us build that foundation. So when we transferred to Charlotte with Vito's company, we decided to liquidate everything in Chicago. And we knew that we wanted to get back into real estate when we landed in Charlotte. Luckily, our neighbor has been in real estate for decades in the Charlotte area. And after a meeting with him, he convinced us to try this whole Airbnb thing, which was a totally new idea for us. So to fully furnish a home with beds, linens, towels, everything down to all the forks and knives and measuring cups. It was kind of exciting because I've always wanted to be in kind of that home decorating type of industry. And this allowed me to take that passion and put it into my real estate passion. So we ended up buying our first property in the fall of 2017. And by that December, we had listed it on Airbnb, and it started getting booked pretty much every weekend. And we quickly added a second and a third property that I ended up managing all by myself. I did all the bookings, all the guest messaging, all the cleanings. It became a little overwhelming for just me to do it all by myself. The amount of laundry I was doing was absolutely crazy. But it was a great learning experience because I think if you're gonna do this type of business, you really need to know all the details down to, you know, what it takes to turn over a property in between guests and things like that. So within that first year, I met a real estate investor who was looking to convert his short-term rental into a long-term rental because his property manager at the time was underperforming and not giving him the results he wanted. So I convinced him to let me manage his property for at least 6 months to show him what I could do. I felt like his property had a lot of potential, and with what we were doing, I could take those same qualities and put it right into his property and really bring a return that he was looking for. So little did I know that he was a professional real estate investor with other investing partners looking to buy and renovate houses around Charlotte and operate them as Airbnbs. So his property started earning more money per month than it ever had once I started managing it. And so then he asked us to take on more of his properties in the coming months.
Nice. Excellent. And I had a question when you were talking about this, and I don't know if we'll get to this. So I want to ask you real quick, what is typically the turnaround between, you know, people coming over is it like you have Sunday from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. and that's like the quick turnaround to get the house ready for the next set of guests? Is that typically what we're talking about?
It depends on time of year. When it's busy, especially during the summer, yes, we can have people checking out at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we have a new guest arriving at 4 p.m. So we have about 6 hours to clean the property, get all the laundry done, and make sure it's perfect for the next people. During the slow months, we get a lot more weekend reservations where guests arrive on a Friday, they check out on Sunday, and we may not have a new guest arriving until the following Friday. But we like to run our business as if someone were arriving that night. So we always like to turn around the property and have it ready for a potential guest to book last minute.
It's frequent to get a same day booking that's checking in that night.
Oh, really? Okay.
You have to have the house ready to go.
Wow. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So then at this point, Teri, you're doing this now full time, correct? And then
yeah. I made a really hard decision to retire from my perfusion career. I had spent 22 years in the operating room. I found this new business that could really turn into something big, especially with this new client that we took on. And so we just both decided at that time to get our realtor licenses in North Carolina and, kind of just grow the business with me managing it. Vito was still working in the corporate world. And, then COVID happened. Mm-hmm. So COVID changed everything for a lot of people, and especially us. It ended up being the stepping stone to Vito then joining the property management company. And so that's kind of how that all came to be.
Yeah. So So did you, Vito, when you left corporate, did you know what you were getting yourself into?
No. The COVID surprised everyone. It turned the whole world upside down. It devastated the food service business because, schools were shut down, universities were shut down, even prisons and jails were letting, nonviolent criminals out, and judges were hesitant to pack more people into jails at the height of the pandemic. So it was a mutual decision for me to leave. I think it was the right business decision for sure, considering the impact on the financials. But when I left, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do next. I knew I was going to take some time off. That's for sure. After 25 years of being in IT, that wears on you. So I took some time off to reflect. I did some things at some of the houses we own to make some improvements, handyman type work. I even rented a bobcat and regraded a whole backyard. So that was a good sort of get me outside and
which I have to ask right now, like, I feel like at some point it's every little boy's dream to just drive a bobcat or something like that.
It was so fun driving around in a bobcat and
Kelly, we took tons of pictures and he had to tell everybody about it.
Being Bob
Bob the Builder, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. So you did this, and now you are both working together. What are some of the this is the biggest question that we always talk about on my show. What are some of the big ahas that you want to share with the listeners that have contributed to your success?
Yeah. So, for me, I think the big aha, and when we looked at the short-term rental business model, it's a very new concept in real estate. Landlording, traditional 12-month leases, and there's an owner that owns the house and there's someone who rents the house. That's been going on for centuries. It goes back to medieval times when there were the lords of the land. So landlording has been around for a long, long time. But short-term rentals have been around for a very short period of time. And when I looked at, how the financials work, there were three compelling disruptive forces that short-term rentals introduced versus traditional landlording. One of them is that you can take a property that you would typically rent for maybe $1,500 a month, unfurnished, on a 12-month lease, and you can rent that same property fully furnished on a short-term basis and gross over $10,000 a month. I mean, that's 5x on the typical gross revenue.
Yeah.
And so you have some upfront costs with furnishing and fitting out the house, and there's some ongoing monthly costs that you have to pay for the utilities and the internet service and some TV subscriptions and that sort of thing. But the gross revenue, it more than offsets the operating and carrying costs of the property. So that struck me right away. I think that struck us both. We were like, we can get more than just be happy with $100 a month. The second thing is getting paid by these OTAs or online travel agencies like Airbnb and VRBO, that they actually pay us the money the day the guest checks in. So that improves our cash flow because we're getting paid at the time of check-in, and that eliminates the lost rent problem. And you also get personal property protection from Airbnb's insurance. They call it air cover. And so that eliminated, no more hassles with late rent checks, is people coming up with all their reasons why the rent check is late that month, and then dealing with evictions. So that problem's been eliminated in the short-term rental space. The third, and this surprised us both, is reducing the wear and tear on the property itself, because guests are just bringing suitcases and groceries. They're not moving their furniture in and out of the house or staying there long enough to beat it up too bad. I mean, sometimes people throw a party or something like that, but everything can be cleaned, repaired, or replaced. And we have a process in place for holding them accountable for damages.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in my mind, the big aha was that Airbnb democratized hosting, and that now you could take a house and fractionalize it and sell it for 1/365th, right?
Right.
Is now you're breaking it into these smaller components and charging a higher rate per night. Now, historically, the hotel industry has had a monopoly on this concept, because the hotel industry were the only ones that could sell it by the night. But now, through short-term rentals, anybody can do that. And so we actually benchmark our prices on our homes on a per guest per night basis against local hotels in the area, like a Marriott Courtyard or a Hilton Garden Inn. Not super fancy hotels. These are kind of mainstream common hotels. But we look at, well, what would it cost to put 4 people in a room with 2 queen beds? And that usually comes out to around $50 per person per night. You have to look at the cancellation policy, because they'll give you a lower nightly rate if you have no cancellation, right? We have a pretty generous cancellation policy on our homes, but we can beat them on price. We can actually offer a lower per person per night rate. And, we're giving them full kitchens, fenced in backyards, kayaks, paddle boards, like a really great experience. So our focus is to try to be like the Ritz-Carlton of luxury homes in this space, is providing an amazing experience that you just really can't get anywhere else. So, I mean, this whole Airbnb thing, it's kind of like Uber for houses. Everybody has a mobile phone. You click a button, you get a car. Open Table, you click a button, you get a restaurant reservation. With Airbnb and VRBO, you click a button and you get a luxury home on the lake for 12 of your best friends and family.
Right. Absolutely. It is. It really is incredible. Now, for your properties, how do you choose the location of the properties?
So we always look for properties that have a close proximity to some attractive non-taxable thing. So that could be, it's on a lakefront, it's next to a park, it's next to a walking trail, it's close to the city with restaurants and nightlife and bars. It's close to maybe corporate headquarters where there are people coming in, or there's a lot of people moving to Charlotte for work, where they need a place to stay for maybe 3 months until they figure out where they're staying permanently. So we always try to focus on properties that have some amenity that's nearby that draws, guests to book that home.
And I'd also like to add, we're not just focused on the location for our Airbnb guests. We're thinking ahead also, what is this property going to sell for? How attractive will it be when we decide to get out of this business? When we have to sell this home, maybe 5-10 years from now, a family may want to move into it and live there full time. So what is our return on investment when we're trying to figure out what our kind of retirement plan?
When you buy, you always want to keep an exit strategy in mind.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Good. Okay, Teri, let's move to you for a minute. What do you feel like a big aha is for you for your success?
Yeah, so hosting is something I've always enjoyed with my friends and family, and it came naturally for both of us, to create amazing spaces and memories for others to enjoy. And even though it comes naturally, I've always treated this like a business. And I made sure to learn everything I could about how to be the best host. So in the beginning, I joined Facebook groups, I listened to podcasts, I read books written by other hosts. And most importantly, I just jumped in and I failed forward. So I know I had some knowledge in the beginning, and I kept learning as I moved on, and I made mistakes along the way, but No one's ever going to be completely ready to start any type of business. So the most important part is getting started. And then you keep plugging away at it. And if you treat it like a business, you're bound to have success versus if you were just treating it like a hobby.
Excellent. Yeah, I love that. And I think, you are like spot on with what you said, just about the whole like failing forward, because they're just lessons. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, okay, well, I learned that lesson and now I know how to fix it and move on. And then you just keep going, because as a business owner, as we always continue to scale, you're always coming across new problems, which is fabulous, because when you have a new problem, it means your business scaled to a new level. And now you just get to figure that out. And sometimes it's trial and error. You know what I mean? Try this and then, okay, well, that didn't work. So now let me try it another way. And that's how you find the solution you're really looking for.
Yeah, we refer to it as tuition.
Oh, excellent.
Down, but we do pay them.
Yeah. So, what challenges do you face as business owners?
Well, I think for me, the number one challenge is hosting and communicating with the public. The public is a lot different. I'll be kind just to say it's different than working where, I grew up inside companies where most of my interactions were primarily with other internal employees or close partners or long-term customers, people that, I had a relationship with and we did business together on an ongoing long-term basis, where working with, hosting the public is much more what I would call hand-to-hand combat. And so, the public, they can be annoying, but they can be amazingly cool too. So, I'm not going to say that they're all bad, because they're not. We host people from all walks of life. So it's enlightening to hear all the reasons why people come to Charlotte and how much they enjoy and appreciate our homes. And I think especially coming out of COVID, all of us appreciates every moment together just a little more.
Yes.
It really is. About 9 out of 10 guests are fine. 1 out of 10 can be a hassle or a problem. But we get surprised all the time where we think a guest is going to be fine and they turn out that they're a problem. Or the other way around, we look at a guest and go, oh boy, here it comes. And they leave the place spotless. So,
and you don't ever meet your guests, right? But it sounds like you're doing background, like something.
Yes.
Guest screening. So
we never have a person. We very, very, very rarely would we ever physically meet a person. Everything is, self check-in, self checkout. We communicate with them through the apps, through the platforms. And so there is a lot of communication, but it's all documented on the platform. And that's for our own protection as well. And right. For the guests and for the guest protection.
Right.
But we've got a lot of funny stories. There's all kinds of stories. We could write a whole book about all the things that we've seen and some of the things that these guests are doing.
So I have to ask one question because it popped into my head. Has anybody ever left anything that left behind,
all the time?
Yes.
All the time.
Anything memorable you want to share? Now, I'm not going to say this is a family show, but no.
After the show, we'll share with you, Kelly.
Okay.
Part of our book one day.
Okay, perfect. I'll read it for sure. Okay. And then anything else? Challenges?
Well, I think as we're as spouses, we've been married for how long? 23 years?
25, 24?
Seems like
something.
20
somewhere in the area of that. Okay.
We've never worked together like this before. So that's a new, I don't know if it's a challenge, but it's a new thing for us. Our work styles are different. So Teri's what I would describe as an independent operator. She learned that, in the heart surgery room, she was the only person in the room that was running the heart-lung machine. So she's used to being on her own and counting on no one else. Whereas I grew up as more of like a collaborative team leader where I need everyone to have a voice and provide input and before any important decisions get made. And so, sometimes Terry will tell me, just decide, just figure out what to do. And so that, creates some conflict, but we both understand our two work styles. And I would say for sure the two of us combined are much stronger than either one of us would be on our own in this space.
Yeah, well, and I feel like, that I'm sure the two of you balance each other out nicely as well, with some of the collaboration going on and the independence going on, that there's a time for both, right? Both needed, and just balancing that out. Terry, what do you feel like are the challenges that you face as a business owner?
Yeah, so the biggest challenge for me is actually learning to be the CEO, the accountant, the human resources department, the guest concierge, the cleaning manager. I mean, just everything involved with running your own business. You have to do it all yourself in the beginning. And I was very comfortable doing that. As Vito said, I'm kind of a solopreneur. I'm used to doing things all on my own. So asking people to help was difficult. But I know I can't do this all by myself. So in order for us to have grown to where we are today, it forced me to come out of that shell and delegate some of these tasks to other people who can do it better than me. And so that's kind of like, my biggest challenge, even still moving forward, is letting go of that responsibility and allowing others to help me so that we can be the best at what we do and, keep continuing to grow.
I think that is a challenge for most business owners in one of two ways. Either you become a business owner thinking, I'll give myself as an example, right? So as a coach, okay, I'm like, I'm going to be the best coach ever. I love coaching. Okay. Great coach. Love it. Fires me up, passionate about it, and then I'm like, oh, and I have to be the bookkeeper and the marketing director and, all those other things, which I am not as passionate about. And yet I have to do them. I had to do them until my business got to a place where I could hire people. Then I feel like there are the people that are good at all of them, can do all of them, and they have to know when to let them go so that they can scale, they can move on, and they can really focus on what they do best instead of, you know what I mean? So I feel like you kind of fall in one of those camps as a business owner. So yes, all the things that go with being a business owner. Yes. What are your goals moving forward for the two of you?
So my goals have definitely evolved over the course of my life and my career. But one thing I would say has remained constant, and that's the obsession with the pursuit of happiness for, whatever that means to any individual person. So early in my career, I worked the long hours. I worked in the middle of the night. I missed holidays and lots of family events, but I was compensated quite well for those sacrifices. And it's because of those years, I'm able to pursue other passions now on my own time. So I'm thankful to spend my days being able to focus on my kids and my husband. And I make my own schedule. And although I could choose to lounge around and sleep all day, I just can't. I'm one of those people that always needs to be doing something productive. And so being a property manager and running my own business, that's my choice. That's what I decide to do today because it allows me that time freedom that I've been waiting for all these years. And as far as my business goals, it includes just offering a unique experience to all the guests we host and maximizing our clients' financial goals with their properties.
Do you feel, I just had another question. Do you feel like every one of your houses, I'm sure they each have their own personality, but do you have a general style that kind of all your house, like what I know, these are the Trifiletti houses, you know what I mean? Like they're very, or no, do you know what I'm saying?
I would say yes.
I'd say, yeah, we do have a style. We were actually just talking about this the other day. I'm sure like you've seen the picture of the big buffalo with the horns, like at Hobby Lobby or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Max or something. We've seen that our clients decorate some of their own properties, and we've seen that more than once in their homes. And so we were kind of thinking maybe we should put that picture in all of our properties, and that can kind of be our
Like a signature,
right?
piece.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'd say our homes cater to big family and friend gatherings. They sleep, at a minimum of 8 to 14. We actually have a house that sleeps 19 people.
Nice.
And all of them are very nicely decorated, luxurious linens and furnishings and things like that. So we do kind of have a style, but I wouldn't say there's one particular thing that makes them stand out.
Yeah, for sure. Each house has its own personality. So they're like, it's like having kids, they're all different, and they all have their things that they do well and things that maybe they don't do as well. But we talk a lot about brand standards inside the home and in the way of the decor and the amenities. And some of the things that we've tried to do is institute standards in the kitchen in particular to make sure that it has everything that you would need to cook dinner for a large family or group. I think there's more for us to do there. We haven't pushed it as much as we probably could. Another thing we've recently done is we've put little placards in, which has the Wi-Fi ID and passwords. Because one of the most common questions, as soon as they show up, it's what's the Wi-Fi password, right? So
right.
a little placard, and it has our logo on it, and then it has some QR codes that link you to our guest guide. So things to do, fun things to do around the area, and also has a QR code that links to our website where you can book that same property, because a lot of our guests want to come back.
Yes.
So we've made that very simple for them to, and while they're there, while they're staying with us, go ahead and book your next stay now.
Right. Yeah. I look at the place that we stayed at in Florida when we went. I would totally go back there. Like, I know what they had. I know where it is. Like, we like the location. Yeah. So that's fabulous. Okay. I got us sidetracked. So where were we? I think we were on, Vito, were we on your goals? Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I think, from my perspective, my goal is life-work balance. Everybody talks about work-life balance. I'm flipping the equation the other way. And for me, it's life-work balance, leaning hard toward the life part of the equation and less toward the work part. So I'm really enjoying spending time, with Teri and with our 2 daughters. And my number one priority at this stage of life is to spend time with all of them, because it won't be long until our daughters are off to college, starting their own lives, hopefully getting jobs and having families and all that sort of fun stuff. And if they ever want to do a side hustle, they know who to call.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying having the time to drive the kids to school and pick them up and just be a parent, because in the corporate world, I wasn't able to do those things. I was always on the go, or even when I was home, I wasn't present.
Yes.
So I volunteer with the high school marching band. I'm the pit crew chief. So I'm on the board for the marching band. And then I also volunteer as the board treasurer for our HOA in the community where I live. And having a broker's license, kind of helps build some trust there with the rest of the neighborhood. But the best part is making our own schedule and our own calendar. It's no more sitting at a desk or a conference table all day in front of a computer screen and wondering how many more days until I get to go on vacation.
Right.
So I think that's great. We can work from anywhere. We can pretty much do most of the work from our phones, and that's by design. Our technology selection has always been cloud first, so that we can do this from wherever we are. And so, I think that's been just a great way to balance out our lifestyle at this point.
Yeah. Something that I always talk to my clients about is that whole, and I did a talk on this actually in Vegas about work-life balance. That really, like, let's just get rid of the word balance, because it's never balanced. And when we're trying to find balance, we're like 50-50, and it's never 50-50. And so it's always work-life unbalance. And one side is always winning for the other. But I always like to use the word harmony, right? And in your corporate, like, I feel like there's times in our lives where work is going to be more. You know what I mean? And life is here, and now you two are to the point where, like, life is more, and you've got these systems developed. You've honed in on what you want. You're working together. You have systems in place. All the partners that you have to help with your business and cleaning services and all these things, that now life can come more to the forefront, which is beautiful, right? And that's really and there's a lot of people that still need help with that and are struggling with that. And the fact that you two have figured out how to do that, really kudos to you two, because it's not an easy feat.
No, definitely not easy.
Right. I mean, that is what I do on, like, helping clients, like, seriously, is help them get more hours back into their day so they can do more of what they love, find a little bit more peace in their life, things like that. And you two being able to work together and really doing what you love. I think whenever you do what you love, that can make a difference as well. Although there are a lot of us that are so passionate about what we do, we could, honest to God, do it all day long. You know what I mean? Because we love what we do. So we're like, oh, wait, you mean it's 9 o'clock already? And I'm still sitting in my office. And it's because we love what we do. We're not, I'm not mad about being in my office. I'm just like, oh. Yeah. So what accomplishments are you two really proud of? I'll let Teri, why don't you go first? Like, what's an accomplishment? I want you to brag on yourself for a minute.
I think the number one accomplishment is earning that superhost status on Airbnb and premier host status on VRBO right from the beginning is really my biggest accomplishment that I'm proud of. Both of those statuses demonstrate a high quality of hosted over an extended period of time. And we've been able to maintain that since the day we started.
Yeah, I think they regrade. Is it quarterly?
Quarterly.
Yeah. So, it's not you earn it and you get it forever. You have to maintain it. And it's based on the star reviews and how many 5-star reviews did you get or did you not get?
Mm-hmm. That's excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Vito, what about you?
Yeah. So for me, I think the thing that I'm proud of, and we're still working through this, but it's what I would describe as the professionalization of hosting. And so what I mean by that is we're somewhat in the avant-garde of applying large company business philosophy and organizational processes and automation to what is still a very young, short-term rental marketplace. This is new area, right? It's greenfield. And so it's a lot of fun. All the innovation that's happening in this space is incredible. There are so many software companies that are coming out with new products or innovating on their existing platforms. So one example is our property management software is HostAway. And it's sort of the central hub that connects through APIs into Airbnb and VRBO and Booking.com and many others. And it's the central kind of calendar that synchronizes all of that. But it does so much more in the way of automated guest communications. So when you book with us, within 5 minutes, you get an instant reply that says, thank you for your booking. We're so excited to host you. And then, 24 hours before they check in, we're doing upsells. We're asking them, would you like to extend your stay? And it's based on if HostAway sees that there's an open day on the calendar when they check out, we'll ask them if they'd like to stay longer. Maybe you don't want to check out at 10 a.m. No problem. You want to hang out at the lake and play on the kayaks for the afternoon. Go ahead. And, so there's upsell opportunities there. On the back end, we're doing monthly financial accounting and reporting and P&Ls because each house is like its own little business.
Right.
So each home has a monthly P&L that we provide to our owners, for our owner clients. And so we're able to just automate the heck out of a lot of this stuff. Being a former CIO, it's like being a kid in a candy store. All these automated cloud technologies, it's incredible around.
This is what cracks me up. I have to say this. Most people are like, I'm really proud of this award I got. And you're like, automation. That's what I'm so proud of.
Yeah,
you love technology. You'll love all of the things that you can automate in a business like this.
I mean, and so it's just the two of us. So like trying to move a corporation toward these innovations, it's a slog. You got to have a lot of energy to try to convince a lot of people. And then when you put it in place, they have to use it correctly.
Right.
And so like in this space, we're calling the shots, and so we're using all kinds of things like smart locks and smart thermostats and lighting and security cameras and just all kinds of smart technology in the home, as well as the things that manage the whole booking process. It's firing off automations to our cleaning teams, letting them know when guests are checking out and when the next guest checks in. We've hired an assistant that is going around and doing quality assurance walks at 48 hours before the guest checks in, just to make sure everything is 100% guest ready. And that's had a big impact on our metrics. I'm a metrics guy. And when I start to see, metrics going down, I want to understand why. And when we start to take action and see the impact on those metrics in a positive way, that's like super rewarding as a business owner and as an IT geek. That's what it's all about. So we're looking at doing some other things with putting EV car chargers into all of our homes. I think that's a win. Making our homes ADA compliant for Americans with Disabilities Act, because you've got more and more of these electric cars on the road.
Yep.
And you've got an aging baby boomer population, that these people, they have walkers or wheelchairs, or they get in the shower. It's nice to have a grab bar, things like that. So there's more room for innovation in the space for sure. And we've gotten to the point now where we're big enough as a company that Airbnb has actually assigned us a direct account manager. So an Airbnb employee that we meet with them, with her on a monthly basis and have touch points. And she shares things with us around trends and metrics from inside of Airbnb. We had to sign an NDA to see some of this stuff. But that helps us understand what's happening in this market and what other hosts are doing or not doing. And really, continuing to improve and innovate in just a lot of different ways. So I'd say that's what I'm most proud of.
Yeah, well, you got fired up about that. Metrics. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I don't know how long we've been talking, but it's been a fabulous conversation. Where can people find the two of you if they want to find you, follow you? Where's the best place to do that?
Well, the best place to do that is to come to our website, thesimplyhomehost.com. And you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Simply Home Host on Facebook and at The Simply Home Host Co. on Instagram.
Okay.
We are still building our TikTok channel, so you can find us at The Simply Home Host.
Our daughters love TikTok.
Oh, TikTok.
I don't get it.
Oh, TikTok, I tell you. Yeah. That's fabulous. And your homes are all in Charlotte. Is that correct?
They are in the Charlotte area.
So
it includes the kind of the suburbs, city part of Charlotte, the lake area of Charlotte, which includes Lake Norman and Lake Wylie. And we also currently host a mountain home in the Appalachian Mountains near Boone and Blowing Rock.
Excellent. So listeners, if you are going to that area, I invite you to get on their website. And again, they said that they are, I forgot what it's called, but star rated, preferred something or other.
Kelly.
What is it? Preferred hosts. Is that it?
Super host.
Super host. So, look them up. I mean, I know my family, we love staying at Airbnb. So I think that it's just, so much better than hotels, by all means. So I love what you guys are doing. I'm going to link everything in the show notes. So make sure that you see the links for that. And they can also both be found on LinkedIn as well. And I will put those in the profile as well. And I just appreciate you both taking time out of your day, not only to share just how you two have been successful in your careers and in life and as a couple, but also just to enlighten us just about the whole Airbnb movement and what is going on. Because, like you said, this started out as a side hustle for you. And I think as business owners, not even as business owners, as people, as many streams as income as you can have, right? That is often just a great thing to have. And this is here to stay.
Yeah, it definitely, for now at least.
Yes.
See how long it lasts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's going to be here for a while. It's new.
The genie is out of the bottle. There's no going back.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, so I thank you both. And listeners, please like, share, comment. And if you know anyone that is in real estate, share this with them because they need to hear this info. I mean, when you heard that they went from renting out to then switching into the Airbnb space, that is huge. So share this with your realtor friends. And if you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, look up their properties. So thank you both. And listeners, I will see you next week and have a great one.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you for being a part of the Winning in Business podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to rise up to your next level of success, but are worried about increased stress, time for work and yourself and your family, not to mention being exhausted, I'd like to invite you to a complimentary strategy call where I'll show you how you can do it all. I'll help you reclaim time, keep your sanity, handle the chaos with ease, and move to the next level of success that you deserve and desire. I hope you found value in listening today. Please always leave your comments, feedback, or questions. We check them all. I want you to continue winning in business and reach your next level of success. See you next time.